Chapter 1. Silas. Get Your Fill was the name of the strip club where I worked tonight. My act was musical filler between the main striptease attractions. Using a modern thin-rim drum kit, I played along to pre-recorded songs from my father's music collection. I used his collection because of the visible orographic components he constructed for playback. As far as I knew, this orographic playback of virtualized musicians from the past was unique. It gave me an edge over other competitors who sought these time slots. It was really my disembodied digital companion, Lucas, who made the show happen. He used to be human but became virtualized by a machine when he died. Now he's part person from his physical life's logs and part evolving artificial intelligence. He was my mom's and dad's friend. His voice is all I have left of them. It was Lucas who told me when he lost contact with my parents. He explained something called time differentials, but, at the time, I was only 10. The only thing I could do was cry. The lounge was nearly empty. I finished the set, a list of songs performed in a specific order. There were a few claps from the regulars and a way to go. "Come on, Silas," Lucas said as the curtain dropped. "Let's get paid and get out of here." The orographic band members and their instruments faded from the stage, leaving only me behind my compact drum kit. While the drum kit had real drum heads, Lucas triggered the final sound, eliminating the need for a resonator head. He manages that part of the show, using samples from my drums taken from the original recording I played along with. It was like having a new drum kit for every song. "Nice job, Silas," a gum-chewing chorus girl said as she entered the stage. "Thanks, Alice," I said as I put the foam spacer between the drum shells, allowing me to stack them inside one another. "You doing yet another chorus line tonight?" "Yeah, Hagel says everyone seems to like it, and you can perform it while drunk," Alice said. "A win-win situation," I said with a smile as Alice offered a sly grin. "You can beat my drum any time," Alice added. "Quit flirtin'. He's just a boy," one of the other dancers said. "Come on ladies, places," a Mercanite alien said as he ushered several more performers onto the stage. "Geez, kid, what are you still doing here? Get the hell off my stage. And learn to play some happy songs." "You be nice to him, Hagel," Alice said in my defense. "I'm nice to everyone," Hagel sweetly said as he put his arm around Alice's waist. "You are nice," Alice agreed as she walked off with him with a giggle. It was hard not to look at a gaggle of half-naked women. I guess what intrigued me was they were of various ages and species, each quite compelling. Putting my head to the floor, I quickly stuffed the drum kit components into the carrying cases Lucas gave me. Most of it fits in a backpack I slung over my shoulder. The rest of the gear travels in a side bag. My mom and dad were only missing a week or two at most when Lucas offered a replicated audio device for covert communications between us. The miniature subdermal transceivers rested in either ear. I heard Lucas' voice at a low volume while others around me could not. He guided me when I was away from my home echo, as I was on this space station, Hannah 1. This audio connection is how I heard him say, "Take the next door on your right. Step outside and pause." When I first received Lucas' gift, we trained like this. It was a way to honor my mother. Lucas knew of her military training and crafted simulated scenarios to drive home the importance of following orders. He said deviation from orders leads to fractured success. We were a good team. I excelled at following Lucas' commands, and as I got older, he told me about the cloak scanners. They were the electrical generators powering the orographic display I used in my show, but they were more than just generators. Lucas and I practiced through my teenage years, leveraging the various force field options as practical tools. I was a natural at flying and understood the basics of practical shielding. We spent years using these defensive field effects before he offered a single attack in the form of a medical sedative. This sedation was another cloak scanner feature. Performing the role of a StarNet medjector, the cloak scanner could deposit molecules inside a target's bloodstream. Following Lucas' plan, I stepped outside and paused for a moment. That's the thing about space stations. They never get the light right. In this case, I guessed it might be past sundown based on the hue in the simulated daylight. I stood on a raised metal platform with steps leading down. That was my obvious exit. Lucas' voice appeared near my ear, saying, "Stay put. I'm cloaking you." So, the protocol of the lesson games Lucas played was for me to reply to his message. I shortened my affirmative response long ago to K. In a softer follow-up, I added, "Staying put." A moment after the cloak scanners hid me from view, two factions walked into view and faced off in this alley below me. It unfolded very quickly. Being the last alien standing, the faction on the left won the day. His final gleam gun work in continuous laser mode was so grisly I gasped. Perhaps that is why he froze, looking around for anyone else to kill. His gaze remained locked on the platform where I stood cloaked. With my hand over my mouth to control my breathing, I stood my ground, trusting in the force field deception Lucas programmed into the cloak scanners around me. Controlling my breathing was a recurring theme in the plethora of lessons Lucas passed me through. When I was younger, he rewarded me with orographic playback of my mother offering praise. At first, it was wonderful to see her. But when all she offered were the same tired lines again and again, I asked Lucas to stop showing her. An approaching noise drew the amphibian attacker's attention. I saw a few of these aquatic aliens in some other clubs where I played, but I never actually talked to any of them. With a single glance up to my position, the amphibian attacker left with haste while tucking away his gleam gun. Not far behind him, a gang of Mirandian backups arrived, a little too late to save any of their comrades. A few tended to their fallen while the rest rushed down the alley in pursuit. "Hang on. I'm getting you out of here," Lucas said. Since I was a boy, Lucas has been flying me around for as long as I can remember. He used the cloak scanners to fly me away from the alley and over the low rooftops of the neighboring buildings. Hannah 1 was known for being a biosphere in space. Its interior design offered plenty of open areas to emulate planet-side communities from the various Starnet Union's lobbying cultures. This neighborhood where the club resided was at the corner of Techpunk and Sketchy. Lucas sat me down a couple of blocks from the back alley incident. Arrival takes us to the next lesson, how to appear out of nowhere. The general consensus is that if you arrive cloaked, seek cover before revealing yourself. This positioning is what I instinctively did as I hid behind a dumpster. Lucas monitored me, of course, and dropped the cloak and shield once he considered me concealed. Stepping away from the large metal bin, I continued down the street, trying to act as casually as possible. I smiled as it whizzed by me from above. Down the street and off to my left was the boarding platform for the space station's monorail. That's where I needed to be. The line wasn't too long, and the crowd was minimal. This visit was my third time to Hannah 1, and I have traveled on the monorail before. Lucas had purchased my travel pass and booked my lodging. Passing through the gate, I boarded one of the monorail cars. After taking a seat, I waited like everyone else. Hannah 1 was a circular design described as a shrinking concentric tori. This space station was a classic wheel-type layout connected with spoke scaffolding. The cabin where we sat took off in motion, and there was a slight jostle as the velocity isolators kicked in to offset the effects of acceleration. Vendors conducted business closer to the station's center, with residency dominating the outer rings. The monorail took me to this outer ring. Travel time in the pod, as the locals called them, was not long. It took more time to board the transport, wait, and depart than to travel along the rail. I tried remembering where to go, but after leaving the monorail departure point, I became disoriented and said softly, "Lucas, it all looks the same to me." "That's to be expected," Lucas said. "The uniquification of the station is reserved for the center rings. The station designers didn't extend that technique to these outer neighborhoods." "Which way do I go?" I asked as I looked around at questionable observers. "Let's get you in motion," Lucas said. "Walk casually to your right." Following Lucas' directions, I felt uncomfortable passing through this neighborhood. With all the years of training that Lucas and my virtual mother put into me, I should know what to do in situations like this. But I thought of something my mom once told me: it's all right to feel afraid. That's how you know you're still alive. It seems morbid now that I think about it, telling a kid that. Perhaps I had some minor clout by carrying the burdens of a working man. But my pack and bag could attract scoundrels who might abscond with my drums. The fact is, I needed these drums for the competition, which is the reason why I'm on this space station. "Why don't we take a break for a minute or two?" Lucas said. "I'll cloak you the next time you pass through a shadow. Find a seat on one of those entry stoops." I knew what this was, and I didn't resent it yet, but Lucas' monitoring of me was extensive. He may have sensed the anxiety build-up I experienced and offered this suggestion. He was easy to get along with. Part of the reason I'm here on Hannah 1 is that I promised to listen and stay in contact with Lucas the entire time. While I was home in Nottingham, the weight of that promise seemed very light, But once I arrived in this menagerie of alien cultures, I felt isolated and alone. I was glad Lucas was here to help out with the details. "It's not far," Lucas said. "Go ahead and cross the street. Your room is on the second floor." Following his instructions, he guided me to a metal staircase leading up. Standing before room 211, I pulled out my travel papers where I kept the keycard. Passing it by an optical scanner caused the door to slide open, and I stepped inside. This room was a miniature efficiency apartment, with the bed occupying the roomiest part. Sitting on the bed, I placed the bag on the floor and unslung my pack. The voice of Lucas asked, "Are you going to be all right here for a while?" "Sure," I said. "Where are you going?" "I'm going to parlay your performance pittance into more funds," Lucas replied. "You're gambling our money away again?" I asked, disappointed. "Aren't you?" "Don't worry," Lucas said. "This time's different. It's a sure bet."